Faust from the Drainsville District Office in attendance tonight. Supervisor Faust, would you like to say a few words before we get started?
Thank you, Mark. I just want to welcome everyone and just say how pleased I am that we're finally getting to we've gotten to this point where we have a really nice proposal to present to the community. Creating walkable and bikeable access to transit stations is really critical from a transportation standpoint, from a quality of life standpoint, and from an environmental standpoint. So this is a big deal, and I really appreciate the work that's gone into it, and I really look forward to hearing whatever comments or feedback we might receive from the community this evening. So thank you, Mark.
Sonia, if you go to the next slide. So this is our meeting agenda for tonight's presentation. We're going to go through the purpose of the project. We want everyone to come away with an understanding of what we're proposing to do out here to provide access to the station. We're going to talk about our schedule. And then at the end of the presentation, we're going to go through any questions or comments you have about what was presented. But we will ask that you hold all comments until the end and we finish our presentation. So Sonia, you can go to the next slide, please. So before we get into the main part of our presentation, I do want to do a couple quick introductions. Like I said, I'm with the Transportation Design Division. The project manager for this project is Sonia Shanaj. She's going to be leading us through the remainder of the presentation. There's a number of people that work on this project, from our planning team to our Department of Public Works. I'm not going to introduce everyone for time's sake, but to mention a few people and organizations, our design consultant is Whitman Reckard and Associates. We do have the director of the Department of Transportation in attendance tonight, Tom Besedny, and our division chief for transportation design, Todd Minix. And you'll likely be hearing from many of those people when we get to the question and answer portion of the presentation. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Sonia. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. I'm Sonia Shanaj. I'm with Transportation Design Division and project manager for the Innovation Station North Neighborhood Access. As Mark mentioned, this project will provide a direct pedestrian and bicycle connection from the newly constructed Innovation Station to the adjacent neighborhoods. This will also reduce the trip length between the station and the surrounding neighborhoods. On this map, you can see the proposed pedestrian and bicycle facility on an aerial photograph. The red lines are the proposed bridges that we'll have to construct to cross Horseman Creek. And the blue lines is the proposed path that we're showing on this map. As you can see, this path will directly connect the Kiss and Ride parking lot station that's on your lower left to the Reflection Lakes community at Farugi Court on your top of that map. And it also a tie to the townhome community at Abgar Place on your right of this aerial photograph. This slide shows the existing condition, the walking time and distance from the Reflection Home communities to the metro station. On the background is the Bike Fairfax map. The yellow line shows the existing sidewalk. As you can see from the insets that is using Google Map, the distance from the Reflection Home communities is more than 2 miles. For someone to walk to the station, it will take 40 to 50 minutes. With this new connection, the distance from the parking lot to Farugi Court is about 1,500 feet, whereas the distance from the parking lot to the Abgar Place is 1,800 feet. So you can see this new path will significantly reduce the trip length from more than 2 miles to less than 2,000 feet. This is a typical section of the path. It will be a 10 feet wide, a total of approximately 2,000 feet long asphalt path. We will construct 2 new pedestrian bridges, as I've just showed you on the previous slide. We will also install light pole along the path. This is a bridge section on this slide. On the left is a section at the Innovation Station Kiss and Ride parking lot. And on your left is a picture of the parking lot facing north towards Innovation Avenue. This is the longer of the 2 bridges that we will be constructing. It is 367 feet long and 14 feet wide, with steel railing on top. We will have lighting on this bridge. We are going to have steel girder bridge with concrete deck. We looked into different options for the type of the bridge. Our priority was to select the option that has the least minimum impact to the environment. The type of the steel girder bridge will require the minimum number of piers, which means less compared to the other option, which means less impact to the environment. This is the elevation of the longer bridge at the Kiss and Ride parking lot facing towards Innovation Avenue. On the left of this rendering, you can see it is connecting to the retaining wall of the existing parking lot. On the left, it will be connected to the Dulles Green Boulevard. This will be an independent bridge structure. That means we don't have to modify the newly constructed wall. We only modify the existing handrail to accommodate the bridge opening. As I mentioned before, our priority is to build a facility that has the least impact to the environment, and we did so. We haven't done that, but we are designing to making sure the pier location is chosen to minimize impacts to environmentally sensitive areas. This is the other bridge, the shorter bridge near Abgar Place. On the left is the section. It is the same section that we are using for the other bridge, other than it is shorter. It's 135 feet long, and it is also 14 feet wide with steel railing top, and it will also have lighting. This is, again, a steel girder bridge with concrete deck. On your right is a picture of the creek facing north towards the playground. The arrows on these pictures are the approximate location where the bridge will come through. It will come through between these 2 trees, if you can see it. This is the elevation of the shorter bridge. Again, the pier location were chosen to make sure it is minimizing the environmentally insensitive area impact. The bridge elevation of this bridge and the other bridge will be designed to be above 100-year flood elevation. We are looking into 2 different options for railings. Option 1, the picture is on the right, is the existing railing at the Kiss and Ride parking lot. This is the VDOT standard railing. The other option is also VDOT railing that is for bridge, and it comes with a curb. It is a modified version of the standard railing, and it has additional gripping handrail. The color comes with the natural steel finish. We are considering different color like black for the bridge railing. On this slide is a picture of different components of light pole. On the left is the light fixture, and then the arm and the pole. We are going to use LED luminaire. It has long life expectancy and also energy efficient. The color will be gray finish. Both the mast arm and the pole will have natural aluminum finish. We will need land rights for this path. This slide we're explaining the two different types of easement that we're going to be that we will require to construct this facility. On the bottom is the path shown at the recreational field, and on the top left is a blowout of an area. As you can see, the trail is located on an individual property. The PL symbol with white line is the property line. In this case, this is the County Board of Supervisor property. We are gonna need trail easement on both sides of the trail, and this easement is the dedicated land for the use and maintenance of the trail. In addition to the permanent easement, we will need temporary easement, which is for the construction. And this is shown as the orange line in here. This is showing one of the two connections to the Reflection Homes community. On your left is the connection at Farugi Court. This is a plan view, and on your right is a picture of the cul-de-sac, of Farugi Court cul-de-sac. The red here is the approximate location where the future path will tie in. We are going to also extend this sidewalk to make sure it connects to this new path. This is the other connection at Abgar Place to the townhome communities. On your left is the plan view of the connection, and on your right is a picture of the parking lot at Abgar Place. The arrow here shows where the new path will tie in. We're going to also upgrade the existing asphalt walkway to connect to this new path. This project will be reviewed by all applicable federal, state, and county agencies. So we want to make sure that we are in compliance with all environmental regulation as well as county codes and state. On this slide, I'm showing, I'm listed name of all the applicable agencies. We are currently in design phase. We completed our 40% design in November of 2021. The 90% design will be done by fall of this year. We'll have to go through several steps before we start our construction in summer of 2024. One of the major steps is land acquisition phase, which will start in winter of 2023. At this phase, our land ac agent will contact all the affected property owner to obtain the necessary easement that I have discussed in one of the slides. The land acquisition should be completed by fall of 2023. And once it's completed, we will submit the permit and start our bid advertisement process in winter of 2023 to award the contract and begin construction by summer of 2024. The construction is scheduled to complete summer of 2025. This project is fully funded, so we're not expecting any schedule delay. Now, this concludes my presentation. We're going to now start our question and answer session. Like Mark said, please keep your question general so that it is applicable to all attendees. If you have any particular question, please reach out to me directly, or you can email via the project website. We are recording this session, and also the presentation will be posted on our project website. If you have any particular question, please submit your comments February 4. We also posted the display and the rendering, the details that I have shown on our project website. So please submit your comments. We would love to hear from you on the presentation, on the details. So please submit your comments by February 4. Before we start the session, I'm going to go through some housekeeping rule. Like Mark said, Robin Geiger, she is our head of communication. She will administer the question part of this event. She will call your name in the order your hand was raised. For phone callers, if you're calling by phone, press *5. And if you're using Teams, press that hand raise button. It's on the top of the Teams screen. Please make sure to unmute yourself. And if you're calling by phone, it is *6. And if you're using Teams, it's the microphone button. And please keep your hand down when your question is asked. That way we will know if you have a new question. If you raise your hand again, you have a new question. And I am going to hand over to Robin. And Robin, please feel free to add if I missed something on the housekeeping rule.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just going to repeat what you just said, and that is basically if I'm sorry, I'm getting an echo. If you have a question, raise your hand with the raise your hand feature at the top of your screen, and we'll call on you in the order in which you've raised your hand. And if you are calling if you wanted to ask a question and you've called in by phone, you press *5 to raise your hand, and then press *6 to unmute yourself. And once again, once you raise your hand and we enable your microphone, you will unmute yourself, and then you can mute yourself back once you've asked your question. So I think we can start anytime anybody is ready to ask a question. So begin by raising your hand. Okay, Mr. Olson, I'm going to enable your microphone, and then if you would unmute yourself and ask your question. And if you could unmute at the top of your screen, the microphone, you can unmute the microphone. Just click on that. Looks like. Okay, let me try. Okay, Mr. Olson.
There we go.
Okay, good.
Go. Okay, yeah, I was clicking and it wasn't doing anything.
Okay.
Just a quick question. Sonia mentioned maintenance with in the event that the path were open right now and it snows tomorrow. Is there any plans to clear the path for inclement weather?
So what we do typically for a sidewalk and trail that is maintained by the county, we do not remove snow, but since it is connected to the Kiss and Ride parking lot, which will be for which the county will do the snow removal operation. So we will look into this, and we will see if we can continue that operation for this path as well.
Great, thank you.
Sonia, this is Tom. I can also respond on that. The county does have several pilot programs right now with trails serving Metro Rail stations where we are removing snow. And so we'll consider this project for that program as well.
Okay, ready for our next question. Okay, here we go. Okay. Sagar, if you can unmute yourself.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, Sonia. I spoke to you in the email. This is Sagar Chandra. This is about the cricket field we use from the county from a long time. We did have a meeting a few years back in McLean with supervisor office. I did see in the presentation about the walkway and pathway, but you were talking in the email about the fence around it. I did not see that fence in the presentation. Basically, the back side where the 45 degrees, which I sent you the diagram, that is where we might have been an issue. I thought we will have another meeting after this meeting. But if you can explain me how that fence, why we need that fence if it's not there, some parts it's not there and some parts it's there. So if you can clarify me on the fence installation around the path.
So the existing fence, it's and Mark, can you see if Mike Lambert is present? So what we're doing, I'm not sure he is, but let me explain what we're doing. So it's because this existing trail will be conflicting with the path. That's the reason we are relocating. We are moving the trail, moving the fence and putting in a location that's not going to be in conflict with the trail. And this is something we can discuss with FMD, the facility management, because they're the one, I think, I mean, it looks like from the correspondence that we had, they're the one who installed, and I don't know all the details. So like I said, we can set up a meeting and we can find a solution where to install it or not even installing it. So this is something we will have to talk in detail offline. Like I said, we can set up a meeting and talk about that.
Sure. So my question, the other following question is, it is not mandatory to have a fence around the path.
Okay.
I mean, that's what I'm asking. Is it a mandatory thing to have a fence around the path or is it not?
I will have to talk to our active transportation team because if there is any conflict, like depending on your playing, if somebody is biking, if there is going to be an issue with it. So I will get back with you on this. I will talk to them, and when we meet, we can talk about the fence relocation. Does it have to be reinstalled? Or is it a requirement, or what FMD wants? So that is something we can talk. Usually when we impact any structure, trees within, or like trees within a property, if it's a private property owner, we always compensate them for the relocation, or in some case we go and reinstall it, relocate it. So we can look into that. We will look into that.
Sure, thank you. We can have a following meeting. Thank you.
So.
Okay, our next question comes from Christine. So Christine, if you could unmute yourself. There you go.
Good evening, and thank you for this presentation. My question is, are there going to be any plans for any footpaths or bike paths along Rock Hill for the Four Seasons neighborhood?
Mark, is there anyone from planning?
No, I don't believe I saw anyone for planning login. What we do for new projects, we'll take your request for additional pedestrian facilities outside the limits of our existing project that we presented tonight. We'll add them to our list of unfunded projects at the moment. And then when future money comes in, then we'll look at the potential for adding other pedestrian facilities in this area. But for right now, our project is limited to the scope that we presented tonight.
Thank you.
And you said, well, actually, probably the best thing for you to do, because we want to make sure that we look into your request further, if you can submit a written request for where you're looking for the additional pedestrian facilities to, like, through our website or emailing Sonia. That way we can make sure we get it on our list and get it to the right people that need to see it.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
And Todd, did you have a comment?
Yeah, this is Todd Minix, Chief of the Transportation Design Division. We do have a project on Rock Hill right now that is under construction. It's down close to the innovation station. I believe there are some plans to do some additional pedestrian improvements further north on Rock Hill Road.
Can you
But to my knowledge, those aren't funded yet.
Can you bring the map up and show me where you're?
Yeah, Sonia, if you go to the, I think one of your maps may show. I've forgotten the terminus of the current project that we have underway. Yes, it's north of that picture that we have a project that's currently underway. There's a gap between some existing sidewalks out there. We're filling that first gap. We have a retaining wall and some significant storm drain pipe going underneath Rock Hill Road that we need to install with that project. But it's under construction and should be finished this summer.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Christine. Okay, and our next question comes from John, and let me enable your mic, and if you could unmute yourself.
Thank you, everybody, for this update. I really appreciate the communication. And my question is about further communication. So, you know, you put out a schedule that has some planned impacts to Reflection Home Association. What additional planned communication is there for this project, both for community members as well as the board?
So you were asking for further communication on this project?
Yeah, what are some of the next steps in terms of communication? I know you published a schedule about design and getting the utility impacts and all that stuff. Okay. But what communication is going to be made to the community members as well as the HOA itself, and to foster any collaboration or communication about that green space area?
So what we do, we usually update our website with what's going on, but not with detailed plans. The time that you will be contacted is at the land acquisition phase. At this phase, with our design, our land ac agent reach out to you and show you the plans and for necessary easement. So that's going to be winter of 2023. But at any time of point, if you want to reach out, come to us and want to look at our plans, you're more than welcome to do that. And like I said, we're going to have our 90% design this year in fall.
I also want to mention that it's likely that we'll do another community meeting like this at some point. whether it's prior to land acquisition, if something changes with the scope, or maybe it's as we get closer to construction and it takes the form of a pardon our dust meeting. But I would expect that we're going to be doing something else similar to this. Additionally, whenever we do something on site, you could expect to be notified that we're going to have a crew out to perform this type of service. So you're not surprised that someone's just showing up and you weren't notified of what was happening. Like our survey letter or our geotechnical borings, be similar to that.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, John. And Bridget, you're next.
Hi, thanks so much, and thank you for this great information. A couple of things. The first one actually is as a result of what I heard here in terms of the plans for the railing. I'm just curious as to how the decision is made based on the steel, the coloring, and the black or the silver. Does that have to, I'm just wondering, does that change how it feels to the touch if someone actually needs to use that for support? Just curious.
No, it's going to be a material that's not going to make any difference or color, difference in feeling. It's just coated powder, galvanized powder, so you won't feel any difference. And we've been using it. We are using it in other projects, so it's not going to be any difference. And you're more than welcome to have your input on the color or the railing option. We'd love to hear from you on the feedback of the types and the color as well.
Thanks. Yes, I wasn't at all concerned about color. For me, it's more a question of every now and then when you're walking as a pedestrian and you touch something and it's very hot or super cold, it can be startling. I'm an orientation and mobility specialist. I teach people who are blind or have low vision how to get from A to B, and I work often in a transit-oriented environment. So this is very cool that you all are working on a way to help folks who may be living in these communities have a commute or a walk to and from transit that is so much less time consuming. That's awesome. I'm curious, when you put up your list of agencies with whom you're in contact, where in there might fall the feedback from county accessibility folks, and how I might be able to know or be informed about any accessibility feedback that's being given to the project along the way. Thank you.
Just want to mention that if anyone does have any strong feelings of one handrail option over the other, that'd be a great thing if you just send us a comment form about that or the color. So any comments you have about that stuff, just send us a written statement on that. That'd be appreciated. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bridget. And now I think Ms. Gluck, I think it's Michelle or Mitchie Gluck, if you can.
Yes, hello.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey.
Thank you for this meeting. I have a question about parking in the neighborhoods when the construction is going on. Is there going to be any impact on that?
Well, we have not done our access management, like traffic management plan yet. We will have access. We're going to need access from Dulles Green Boulevard, Farugi Court, as well as Abgar Place, and maybe close to Innovation Station parking lot. Not the parking lot, but there is an access. There is an area cleared. But like I said, we have not finalized the access management plan yet for during the construction. We will keep in mind that we know there is a residential neighborhood, so making sure that your daily activities is not interrupted.
Okay,
And,
thank
and
you.
I think we should go further than that, Sonia. We'll make sure that construction vehicles are not parked in the neighborhood during construction.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And I just had a follow. This is Todd Minix again. I just had a follow up on the Rock Hill Road project that we currently have underway. It is it starts on the southern end right at Astoria Court and proceeds northward to tie into the existing sidewalk that's just south of Turquoise Lane.
Thank you, Todd. Okay, John, I think you have your hand raised again. Let me. Okay, go ahead, John.
I was reminded that we had some recent light poles installed in our community. And I noticed that those don't necessarily match the pathway. I thought, or I was just wondering about the differences between the residential ones that were placed in the RHA community on the path towards the planned pathway, and why those lights might be different, or what advantages there are in those being different.
We can look into that. I'm not aware of what kind of lighting you were using. And are you talking about the townhome community or Reflection Lake?
The Reflection Homes Association had the Fairfax County. I'm not sure the right group, but they installed lighting on the public sidewalk on Milady and Ferrugi Court.
Okay. So that is our Public Works Division street lights. They're the one who recommended for this type of lighting, and we can talk to them. We will coordinate with them and to make sure it is consistent. But this is going to be for trail lighting, and I believe it is different for street light, and I may be wrong. I don't want to answer the question if I'm not, 100% right, but we will talk to them and ask them what type of lighting they have already installed, and if this is something that we need to be consistent. But like I said, they're the one, if streetlights is the one division that already installed, I'm sure it will be comparable to the one that we're going to use. But like I said, this is for the trail. It may be different for street light.
Yes, when we talked, this is Supervisor Faust, when we talked about this previously, I think one of the options you're looking at is a shorter pole. I don't know whether that has been rejected yet by VDOT or Dominion, but that's one of the options that we wanted to be able to offer is, on a trail, sometimes a shorter pole is more attractive and, more desirable, so.
Yes.
This is Todd. What was installed on the roadway is within the neighborhood is a standard Dominion light pole, street light pole, which is lighting both the sidewalk and the street. Again, these will be pedestrian scale lighting along the trail. They are shorter. They're typically 16 or 18 feet tall. The sweep arm, the up sweep arm is going to be shorter. The ones you see on the roadway could be up to 20 feet long. These will maybe be 4 to 6 feet long. And again, they're shorter in nature. So, and we do have some various styles that we can get from Dominion. We have to pretty much choose from their catalog of what they have available for maintenance issues. We don't want to have, 50 different street light styles across the county. It becomes a maintenance headache. But for example, if you want to see some recent lighting we've installed on trails, there's Scotts Run Trail, which connects McGarity over to, I can't remember the name, but it's in Tyson's, as well as the Vesper Court Trail Yeah, Vesper Court Trail and Tyson's as well.
And
Those-
Arrowbrook as well,
Yeah,
right across the road.
Arrowbrook at Innovation at Arrowbrook, there was a trail that ties into Sunrise Valley just west of Fairfax County Parkway. There's a new Hawk pedestrian signal at that intersection, and we installed lighting along that trail that goes back behind some of the development and ties into the Parkway. Is it the Parkway or Monroe? Oh, it ties in Monroe Street, just north, further north.
So this is 17 feet high, and like you were saying, the arm is 4 feet, and also the rise is also 4 feet. This is the pedestrian scale lighting, and this is also a Dominion lighting. And I did reach out to Streetlights. You know, I am talking to them, looking other options like the Arrowbrook or types of lighting that we already installed or we are going to be installed for pedestrian lighting.
Okay, it looks like we don't have any questions right now. But if you do have further questions, once again, you can reach out to Sonia. There's a contact form on the webpage for this project. So you can reach out if you have other questions that you haven't thought of yet.
Can I also say, Robin, whether on this project or any issue impacting that involves the county, you're always welcome to contact my office. I have Jenny Phipps, who works pretty much exclusively out at that end of the county. We have an office out there, so we're always available, and we can be a go-between. Sometimes we might know who to contact on an issue that you're not sure about. So anyway, we're here to serve. Let us know what we can do.
Thank you, Supervisor Faust. And Sonia, I'll turn it back over to you and Mark. If we don't have doesn't look like we have any more questions right now.
Well, thank you very much. We would like to hear from you. We would love to hear from you. And you can always reach out to me. You can email me. I can set up a meeting if you have any particular question on your property. I'm here. Email me and we'll go from there. And please submit your comments by February 4 so we can start moving forward on our next step, which is our 90% design fall of this year. Thank you. Mark, if you want to say something.
No, thank you everyone for attending. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.